the pituitary gland, the abnormalities of the pituitary gland. In abnormalities of pituitary gland, there are two conditions. Either the secretion increases or the secretion of the anterior pituitary goes down, decreases. Now, you see, in case of decrease, secretion of the anterior pituitary, you see, if it takes place before adolescence, that is before the fixation of the epiphyseal plate with the shaft of the bone, see this condition, the condition develops is called dwarfs. And if the decreased secretion in the adulthood takes place, only in case of adult, after adolescence, the lethargic condition and gain of the weight gain and loss of sexual activity is there. But if there is a secretion, if the secretion of the anterior pituitary increase before adolescence, then you see the height of the baby, the person goes, increases and it contains up to 8 feet, and if the the hypersecretion of the anterior pituitary takes place after adolescence, then the condition called acromegaly. Now, if you take one by one, you see in case of panhypopituitarism before adolescence, it can take place, the panhypopituitarism can take place, at birth, that is congenitally, or it can take place at any time of the life, suddenly, or it can develop gradually. Now, if panhypopituitarism takes place, before adolescence, then means that all the anterior pituitary gland secretion decreases, and with the result, the dwarfism develops. The dwarfism develops if there is a panhypopituitarism before adolescence. All physical part of the body, develops in appropriate proportion. Only that, but there is a decrease, decreased rate of development. Decreased rate of development takes place when there is a panhypopituitarism in children, or you can say before adolescence. As I told you that earlier, the person, that baby, who is dwarf, panhypopituitarism takes place before adolescence. When he reaches at the age of 10, he looks, the age of the person becomes, in dwarfism. Dwarfism. So in this dwarfism, the anterior pituitary decreases before adolescence, all the anterior pituitary decreases, and then what happens then? The all body develops in appropriate proportion, but the rate of development goes down. A person who reaches at the age of 10 looks like he is only 4 to 5 years old. Means that the age of that person is 10 years. But if you look that baby, he looks only 4 to 5 years old. And the same person who reaches at the age of 20, then he looks that the person is only 7 to 10 years old. Means that the development, the development of the baby if the person does not take place properly, in the early age. But you see, one third of these cases, these panhypopituitarism dwarf, in these dwarf, you see, the only growth hormone goes down. the other hormones secretes normally. So means that okay, only the development of the baby decreases, while the other secretion like metabolic activity, the growth hormones, so these person can sexually be active because their growth, the gonadotropin hormone release is normal, and the normal development of the gonads can take place, so these people can reproduce, and they are sexually active. But you see, in dwarfs, like in case of pygmies, of Africans, and laurine dwarfs, in these conditions, the liver does not synthesize somatomedin C, that is growth insulin-like growth factor. That is, the somatomedin does not develop in these people. So once the somatomedin C deficiency takes place, normal growth of the bone especially does not takes place. So that's why these people are in these pygmies, African pygmies, and the laurine dwarfs. These people also decrease their size, and sexually they are active. Otherwise they are normal. You see, the treatment of these people, as far as the treatment is concerned, the growth hormone, because pituitary is very small, only 0.5 to 1 gram in weight, and before in the past, the growth hormone was extracted from the pituitary gland. So pituitary is very small in size, and very small quantity of the growth hormone was taken from these pituitary gland. So it was not sufficient, and it was difficult to separate it. And that's why you see, one can easily treat with the growth hormone, human growth hormone. That's why the name is given to these growth hormone, human growth hormone, any H growth hormone. Otherwise, the others are growth hormone, GH growth hormone, but this case human growth hormone is the in these the human growth hormones are HGH, human growth hormone. Now, for the last many years, you see, they have developed in bacteria, that is Escherichia coli. There is, because due to the recombinant DNA techniques, the scientist has developed growth hormone from the E. coli bacteria. So now, if these nowadays it is available in the market, and it is very easy to treat these dwarfs at the early age. If at the early age the baby is diagnosed as a dwarf, see, the person can be easily treated by these growth hormone which has been produced by the Escherichia coli bacteria. So it is very treatable. But remember that the growth, if the diagnosis in the early age, then we can treat them properly with these growth hormones. So panhypopituitarism takes place due to 3 reasons. One is craniopharyngioma and chromophobe tumor. Craniopharyngioma and chromophobe tumor. In these type of the tumors, they destroy all the pituitary gland, and the panhypopituitarism develop in adulthood. So after results, the old age especially. And there is another condition which is these panhypopituitarism develops in pregnant female, especially in the primates, when there is a the mother is very weak and the blood pressure is low. So if during parturition the lot of bleeding takes place, means that again the blood pressure in these females goes down, and because this slow movements of the blood in the pituitary vessels, thrombosis will take place there in the pituitary gland, and the circulation stops there, and the panhypopituitarism develops in these people. So that is why, see, in this we should know, Now, as you know, as in the adult, if there is hyperparathyroidism, there is lethargic condition because of the T3, T4, because the anterior pituitary does not secrete the thyroid stimulating hormone, and this thyroid stimulating hormone can, because it is decreased, so the thyroid gland does not secrete sufficient quantity of the T3, T4. Similarly, in these conditions, the glucocorticoids also, in these conditions, the decrease in the, glucocorticoid takes place because adrenocorticotrophic secretion of the anterior pituitary also goes down. So that's why, these, the somatotroph does not secrete the ACTH from the anterior pituitary, and the anterior pituitary, these hormones, the adrenal cortex does not secrete sufficient quantity of the cortisol. So in this way, glucocorticoids deficiency also takes place in these conditions. Similarly, as far as the gonadal hormone is concerned, in this case, the first loss of sexual activity also takes place in these because of the gonadotrophin hormone secretion does not come from the anterior pituitary, so it does not act over the gonads of the male and female both. So in this other conditions, there is a hyperposition of the thyroid growth hormone from the anterior pituitary. You see, if it takes place, hypersecretion of the growth hormone takes place before adolescence. That is, this condition is called gigantism. Gigantism. So gigantism. So this gigantism is the hypersecretion of the growth hormone before adolescence. So before adolescence, if the growth hormone secretion goes very high, means that the bones of the long bones of the people, the persons, that particular baby, you see the activity in the epiphyseal plates, hyperactivity rather, takes place. There, see, this is maybe due to reason, hypersecretion of the growth hormone takes place, or due to the any tumors, acidophilic tumor, if takes place in the anterior pituitary, these acidophilic tumors of the anterior pituitary secreted a lot of growth hormone, and with the result, if it is before adolescence, then the growth hormone is responsible to increase the what do you call it, the bones of the these person, because at the hyperactivity takes place at the epiphyseal plate, so more and more cartilages are laid down there by the chondrocytes there, and then later on they are converted to bones, and the lengthening of the bone can take place in this way, you see. So the long bones become more in length, and the result क्या होगा these can the gigantism means in the height of these people, height can reach up to 8 feet. So now this, in these conditions, gigantism, the height of the baby can go up to 8 feet. And you see, these people always suffer from, because growth hormone is responsible to increase the the diabetic, because the glucose level also goes very high, and then these growth hormone is responsible for the increased glucose level, and type 2 diabetes mellitus develops in these person, and 1/10 of these gigantism people always develop prone type of the diabetes mellitus. The reason is that in these conditions, ultimately all the anterior pituitary, the pituitary destruction will take place. So with the result क्या हुआ, these the lot of growth hormone releases, and these causes the hyperglycemia, and this hyperglycemia continuously glucose burn out the beta cells of the islet of Langerhans, and ultimately, because of this overload, of the high level of the glucose, the beta cells of the pancreas, islet of Langerhans in the pancreas, they are exhausted, they are burn out, and with the result क्या हुआ कि in these people 10% of the people develops prone type of the diabetes mellitus. So this is the condition in the gigantism. Now, as we were told that in these conditions, we can easily, the pituitary gland can be easily microsurgically can be removed, or by the irradiation, because rays, irradiation can also destroy the pituitary, so that no more secretion of these growth hormone takes place from the pituitary gland. So in this way we can treat them either by surgical removal of the pituitary gland or by the irradiation. If the hypersecretion of the growth hormone takes place after adolescence, that condition is called acromegaly. In acromegaly, you see, instead of increasing the length of because in the periosteum, the bone more bed on, the thickness of the bone. The thickness of the bone will take place. So with the result क्या होगा कि the thickness of the bone can take place in case of the what you call it, the acromegaly. So in acromegaly, so now in the acromegaly, the hypersecretion of the growth hormone, again the growth hormone increases after adolescence. After adolescence. This was before adolescence, and this is after adolescence. So after adolescence, because the epiphyseal period has been fixed with the shaft of the bone, so no further growth of the length of the baby takes place. But the thickness of the bone, takes place in these conditions. With the result क्या है? The thickness of the bone, not only there in the long bone, but also thickness of all the soft bone like sternum, like the spines, like the skull bones, like the vertebrae, especially sometimes even once the spines increases in size, so kyphosis even can result, and you see the forehead comes out, or the chins can at least half inch come out, protrudes the chins. So this shows that the size of these bones in thickness, they are increased. Not only this, but also the soft tissues of the person. Soft tissues like the liver, the kidney, you see these organs, they can, muscles of the person, you see they all increase in size in the in acromegaly. In acromegaly, not only the long bone thickness takes place, but also all the membranous bones like bones, skull bones, all they increase in thickness. So in this case, the person, the fingers become double in diameter. The person's fingers become double in size, normal size, and also the size of the feet become up to 14 size. Normal size is 8, 9, up to 10, but in these acromegaly condition, the size of the shoes can become 14 in number. So it means that all the long bones, soft tissues, and also the muscles, the liver, the kidney, they all increase in size, in these conditions. So we can see the growth, as far as the growth hormone is concerned, if it decreases in adults, after adolescence, that is in old ages. See, the person suppose reaches the 45 years of age, but he looks 65 years old because of the deficiency in proteins. Because deficiency in the protein takes place, wrinkles appears in these people, and they look older than the normal. There's, as I told you, the age of when the person reaches the age of 45 can looks like their person is 65 years old. So in this way, No, not only as I told you in the previous lectures that okay, growth hormones secrete up to the end, like from from very early age, that is from 5 to 20 years, it is only 6 nanometer, nanogram per ml, and 20 to 40, 3 nanogram, and 40 to 70 and above, they are only the 1.6 nanogram, even less than that, at the older ages. So these growth hormone, with the passage of time, from the young age up to the very old age, it decreases with the passage of time, the quantity of the growth hormone. So it is better not to treat a person with the growth hormone, because side effects are more than the benefit of these growth hormones, especially in older ages, not in dwarfism. So now the posterior pituitary, you see the posterior pituitary as I told you earlier, in case of pituitary gland, this is the what you call it hypothalamus, and this is the what you call it the this is anterior pituitary, this is posterior pituitary. Yeah? So posterior pituitary. So now, as the pituitary gland is concerned, if we take the cross section of the these pituitary glands, then we will see that especially the posterior pituitary gland, you see, if we take cross section, we can find glial cells there. Glial cells in the posterior pituitary. This shows that the development of the posterior pituitary has taken place from the nervous tissues. From the hypothalamus, it extends, come down, and from the posterior pituitary. Because we know that this is supraoptic chiasma and this is supraoptic nuclei, which are responsible for the secretion of the secretion of the, these are the paraventricular nuclei. Their axons, they come and go again to the posterior pituitary, like that. So posterior pituitary also, you see, means that there are nerve endings. The nerve endings become knob type, and the secretion once formed in the body of these the cell body, because why is in the hypothalamus, so they form ADHR, vasopressin, and these are called the oxytocin. So these hormones, they form there by the neurophysin. There is a carrier protein there, neurophysin. So these neurophysin can brings down neurophysin. So these neurophysin brings down. These are the carrier protein which brings down the hormone into the nerve endings in the knobs. So similarly, both the oxytocin and ADH or vasopressin, they are coming and stored in the nerve endings there in the posterior pituitary. Once they release from there, then you see they go to the venous side. They are collected by the veins and they are carried out from the pituitary gland to the general circulation. So general circulation, the hormones, then it goes to the general circulation. Now, as I told you that the glial cells are present there in these, the posterior pituitary cells, and if we cut the pituitary gland from there in the center, remember that the nerve endings after a transient decrease in the secretion of the ADH and oxytocin, the nerve endings starts secreting, the hormones from the cut ends of the both oxytocin and ADH. जो हमारी जो वो है fibers हैं, जो axons हैं, they secrete from the cut ends of these axons of the what do you call it, paraventricular nuclei and the supraoptic nuclei. So in this way क्या है कि these are the supraoptic nuclei, supraoptic nuclei, and this is the paraventricular nuclei, paraventricular nuclei. So these as I told you that the ADH secrete from the from these supraoptic nuclei, but remember that 1/6 of the secretion can also takes place. 1/6 of the secretion of the 1/6 of secretion of oxytocin also takes place from the supraoptic nuclei, and the 1/6 secretion of the ADH, 1/6 secretion of the ADH can also takes place from the paraventriculi, from the paraventriculi. So this means that both can secrete the ADH and oxytocin from supraoptic nuclei, and both ADH and oxytocin can secrete from the paraventricular nuclei. So in this way these can be normally that if we give only 2 nanogram, these to the vessels which are supplying these hypothermic nuclei, if we give only 2 nanogram of the intravenously, then we'll see that a lot of absorption of course ADH. So then a lot of secretion will take place, and there will result anuria results there. Whether क्या है कि anuria results due to, now as we know that if the secretion of the ADH, you see these ADH, so now we know that there are क्या है, ultimately they all them they go to the there. If only 2 nanogram of the ADH is given to this person, they will go to general circulation, come to the kidney, act over the tubules there, especially the collecting ducts and tubules, and they absorb all the water from there. ADH is responsible for the absorption of water. Later on I'll tell you in more detail. So no urine can pass from there. Similarly, due to any reason, if the hypersecretion of the ADH takes place, you see all of the urine will, the water will absorb, and the urine pass will become very, very concentrated. Concentrated urine is passed whenever there is increased level of the antipyretic hormone in the blood. It means that once the the supraoptic nuclei secrete more ADH, that means that more absorption of the water will take place, more concentrated urine, ultimately concentrated urine will form. Conversely, you see, in opposite to that, if there is less amount of the ADH secretion from the the supraoptic nuclei, then you see no absorption of the water will take place. A lot of urine will pass a lot of urine will pass, very low concentrated urine, and concentration of the solutes, especially the sodium, there is very low there. So very dilute urine is passed when and a lot of urine is passed when there is decreased ADH secretion. So when we say when the ADH goes high, absorption takes high. When the ADH goes down, absorption becomes less in the in these kidney tubules. So in this way, you see, the exactly it is not known how these, suppose this is one of the convoluted now. So in this way, this is the collecting ducts there, and this is Bowman's capsule. The afferent arterioles, the afferent, AFF, and the efferent. There is glomerulus there, efferent, and this is AFF, goes towards the glomeruli. So the pressure is high, and the urine will pass ultimately into the filters inside the proximal tubule, then loop of Henle, then thick loop of Henle, and the proximal tubule, then collecting ducts and tubule and protective tubules, and then collecting ducts and goes to the pelvis of the urine. So in this way, you see that the secretion, whenever there is the ADS secretion becomes more, then these cells, these are drawing the cells, these are the cells present in the, so these cells, you see now these cells, this is the tubular portion, so there is the tubular portion is the this is the tubular portion. Similarly, it is here. So this is the tubular portion. There, you see the blood, the urine passes like that in the tubule. Now you see there are vesicles. These vesicles are is a special type of the vesicles, which is called aquaporine. These vesicles, which is responsible for the absorption of water, you see these vesicles, they are called vesicles aquaporine. So these aquaporines are present inside the teeth tubular epithelium, and whenever ADH comes there, when ADH comes there, you see ADH. So they have got receptors there. जो receptors होगा, they convert ATP into cyclic AMP. So these adenyl cyclase system, these enzyme system which is present there, they convert the, once the ATH come and they combine with the receptors there. See, now these receptors, there is enzyme system of the cell membrane, and then the cyclic AMP, adenyl cyclase system is activated, and this activated adenyl cyclase system, they convert ATP to cyclic AMP. Now these cyclic AMP will move, they are these vesicles which are present there, they are moved towards the, this is the towards the surface of the sides of this is basal side, this is apical side. So they will move, these vesicles will move there, and that there are proteins. So these cyclic AMP will act inside these vesicles, and they causes the oxidative phosphorylation of the protein takes place inside these. क्या होगा? The phosphorylation phosphorylation. So phosphorylation of these proteins which is present there, they are taking place and they will form the vesicles there. What do you call it? क्या बना लेगा? These they will form the vesicles there, which will which will form the easily the water can now easily H2O can be easily absorbed from these vesicles because of these aquaporins which are present there. In these vesicles there are what do you call it? The channels for the water absorption. So in these ones the ADH comes combined with the receptors. A cyclic AMP activated, ATP is converted into cyclic AMP come and phosphorylation of certain proteins inside these vesicles takes place, and they will create the vesicles. There are the pores. The pores are created there, which are easily the water can be easily absorbed from there and goes inside the H2O, and then from there they go to the what do you call it? Inside the water is absorbed in this because we know that there are capillaries and these water H2O will absorb in these capillaries which are present outside these tubules. So in this way क्या है कि इसी the ADH is responsible for the absorption of the water through the activation of these aquaporins which are present in these tubular epithelial cells, especially in the collecting ducts and the what do you call it, tubules of the collecting tubules major. So in this way water is absorbed. The action of the ADH or the tubules takes only 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. So in this 10 to 15 minutes, you see, 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, it will act only for 5 to 10 minutes. So, this action will take place and absorbed. But after 5 to 10 minutes, you see, after 5 to 10 minutes, the action is over and there is no more ADH is acting over these tubules and no absorption will take place. Means that only this action is 5 to 10 minutes over these tubules. As far as the regulation of the ADH is concerned, the ADH secretion, as far as the ADH secretion, we know that this secretion is taking place, from the pituitary, from the hypothalamus, and these ADH, if we inject concentrated, concentrated electrolyte solution into the artery supplying these pores, there is these area is supplied by an artery. You see, if we inject in these if we inject a what do you call it, concentrated solution, if we inject concentrated solution in this area where the these supraoptic nuclei lies there, then concentrated urine, once we inject concentrated urine there, these hyperosmolarity develops in these areas, all these areas. There are cells which are called sodium osmoreceptors. These cells are called sodium osmoreceptors. So these sodium osmoreceptors are present nearby to these supraoptic nuclei, and because the hyperosmolarity, by injecting an hyperosmolar solution there, what happens then? These cells which are present there, they kya hoga? Because these cells, their water H2O will come out. H2O will come out from these cells, and these cells will now these cells will shrink. These cells will shrink, and they decrease in size, and with the result क्या होगा, because the water has come out from there in these cells. Now once these cells shrinks, they they pass message to the nearby cells, that is supraoptic nuclei, so that because hyperosmolarity has developed in these area, with the result क्या होगा कि these cells once shrink, they pass message to the supraoptic nuclei, and the supraoptic nuclei is stimulated, they pass message to the posterior pituitary, and the ADH is secreted from there, and this ADH again now come and act over these tubules, and with the result क्या होगा, the water will absorb from these water. So H2O will absorb from the from these filtrates of the kidney, and with the result क्या होगा कि the water will come out, and once the more and more water comes there, the osmolarity decreases in these areas throughout the body. The osmolarity decreases, with the result क्या होगा, once the osmolarity decreases, these cells again convert into normal size. Again the water will go back, H2O will go back inside the cell, and these cells again swell up. ठीक है, once there is ADH, no more ADH is present there. You see, no more ADH is there. These, then the osmolarity decreases, and with the result क्या होगा, these cell again goes, and no more stimulation of the supraoptic nuclei will takes place, and with the result क्या है, the secretion of the ADH decreases, and with the result a lot of increases, a lot of water is reabsorbed from the tubules, and hyperosmolarity, which was created by the injection of there, then hyperosmolarity decreases because of the absorption of the water from the tubules. So in this way, so all these will take place at least in 20 minutes. All these takes place with the. Now we know that these ADH, the other name of this ADH is vasopressin. So now these vasopressins, you see क्या है कि causes vasoconstriction of these people. These vasoconstriction, generalized vasoconstriction in the whole body. So now these vasopressin. So these vasopressin, because they are responsible क्या है कि generalized type of the. So these four, this is the normal size. So they will constrict the vessels throughout the body. You see these, they will causes the decrease in diameter of these, because generalized vasoconstriction in the body will take place, and the diameter of the vessels will go down, and with the result क्या है कि it is responsible for to increase the blood pressure. Of course it will take place when there is high level of the ADH present there. So this will act as a vasopressin. They will go and act over the arterioles of the whole body, and causes decrease in diameter, and causes increase the blood pressure in these people will take ultimately. Now normally you should know that, okay, that's why it's called vasopressin. Normally we know that okay, the blood volume, it decreases 15 or 20 or 10 to 15 to 25% decrease if there is poor blood volume. If 50 to 25% of blood loss takes place, then you see these ADH secretion increases. With the result क्या होगा, because the stretch receptors are present in the left atrium. You see, in the right atrium, in the left, even the left, in the blood big vessels, in the sinuses, that is aortic sinus or carotid sinuses, they will, जब blood loss हो जाए, these, they will, because the less blood volume, goes, venous return decreases, So the amount of the blood in the right atrium and also in the vessel, in the other chambers of the heart goes down. With the result that once they will decrease, then they pass message to the higher level, especially in case also in the carotid sinus, aortic sinuses, and also pulmonary trunk. There, because of hypovolemic condition, they pass message to the higher center, which is the kya, then ultimately they reach to the hypothalamus, they will release, ADH there, and this ADH will come very, very high doses, more than 50 times more, 50 times more, ADH will secrete. 50 times more ADH secretion will take place once there is loss of 15 to 25% of the blood loss is there. So with the result these 50% will go increase in the 50 time increase in the ADH secretion. All the these ADH will cause vasoconstriction and the blood pressure will go and the person will not go to hypovolemic shock. So this is the reason that this is called also vasopressin. Now, as far as the oxytocin is concerned, oxytocin, you see, oxytocin is formed in the hypothalamus, come back and store into the posterior pituitary there, and then whenever there is a need of secretion of the oxytocin, they secrete. Now the conditions is you see, the main purpose of they are these oxytocin will in the gravid uterus they will act over there, and also in the breast, the breast of the female they will act there. Now we know that whenever there is we can prove it this way in the pregnant in case of animal, in the pregnant female, you see at the time of before parturition, you will see that the oxytocin level goes high. Moreover, you see, then if we see that the amount of the oxytocin increases at the end of the what you call it, the end of the pregnancy. And if we remove the pituitary gland in animal, then the parturition period goes very lengthy, very high. Instead of few hours, few days, it goes many days. You see, the parturition of the baby does not take place even in for a long period of time. So, and also if we stimulate the cervical region, then there we'll see that at that time, then we'll see that the oxytocin level goes high in these animals. The reason is that these two things are there. You see, once at the pregnant gravid uterus, where once the stimulus pass there, then secretion of the oxytocin goes high, and at the time of parturition, more and more oxytocin secretion goes high, and it causes contraction of the uterus, and the birth of the baby becomes easier. Due to contraction of the smooth muscles of the uterus. Similarly, in case of the lactating mother, if the lactating mother, you see, once the baby starts suckling the milk from the breast of the mother, the message is passed and go to the hypothalamus ultimately, and then they reach to the supraortic nuclei, the parotid nuclei of the hypothalamus, and from there, these oxytocin is released, come to general circulation. These oxytocin through the general circulation come back to the breast, and in the breast there are myoepithelial cells, and these myoepithelial cell contraction will take place. So this is the breast of the female. You see, then we know that there are acini which are responsible for the formation of the milk. Ultimately these ducts, they come there, they will, these ducts. So they will come and show. Now there are smooth muscles. There are smooth muscles inside the breast. You see, at different direction. So now if this oxytocin is released, then these oxytocin, they come and attack over these myoepithelial cells. These myoepithelial cells will contract and pushes the milk towards the nipple. and then you know the milk is ready for the baby to suckle it very easy without any force. This is because you know the one day baby or few days of baby cannot have the sufficient force to suck the milk from the depth of the breast. That's why the nature, you know, the Tala ne kya kiya कि you know they have made this system. When the baby starts suckling, the message is passed go to the higher center, and then you know the oxytocin is released. They come and contract the myoepithelial cells, and the milk is ultimately pushed towards the nipple, and the baby can easily suck these milk and take the milk easily. You know, as far as the